Councilwoman McDonough, would you lead us tonight?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence to remember all of the men and women who are fighting for our freedom. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Okay, so once again, thank you all for watching tonight's town board meeting. The date is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019, and tonight's town board meeting is a work session. And for the record, all town board members are present with us this evening, as is our town council, Greg Fulchetti, all the way down to my left. Highway Superintendent Mike Simone is here, and Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is here with us also, as they have some items on the agenda tonight that they will be discussing with the town board. So at 6:30 p.m., the town board met in an executive session. We interviewed a candidate for a planning board vacancy. And the second item, Greg Fulchetti, town legal counsel, updated the board on a litigation matter. So the first item on the agenda tonight is a review of the town board meetings minutes for May 1st, 2019. Unless any town board members would like to comment on that, we'll move on. So the first item, number one, Mary Ann Maxwell, Town Comptroller, is to consider budget revisions for March and April of 2019. Mary Ann?
Good evening. This is to consider budget revisions for March and April of 2019. Number one, in the general fund, we're providing for search rate settlements, a total of $20,000 for current and future search rate settlements in the general fund. Number two, in the general fund, we're providing for a payout of accrued time for retirees. There are 3 retirees in the police department plus 1 payout of vacation time. Number 3, in the general fund, we're providing for overtime expense from 207C revenue that was received. Number 4, we're transferring for town and county taxes, 2009 town and county taxes on town property, $10,092. Carmel Fire Protection District number 1 and the Highway Fund, we're creating a reserve for dry hydrant capital cost and capital machinery cost in the Fire Protection District and the Highway Fund. This was recommended by the auditors. Instead of carrying forward the budget from year to year, we're actually creating a reserve for these two things. $64,322 in Carmel Fire Protection District number 1 for dry hydrant capital expense. And this is accrued over the years through previous budgets. And then $250,000 is going to be a capital reserve that we're creating in the Highway Fund for capital machinery. In Carmel Sewer District number 4, we're transferring $10,000 for contractual repairs. Carmel Sewer District number 7, we're transferring $3,000 for equipment. The drainage capital project, the highway resurfacing capital project, and the highway machinery capital project, we're recording the capital authorizations that were approved, I think, earlier in April. $200,000 in drainage, $1 million in highway resurfacing, and $550,000 in machinery equipment. On page 2, in Carmel Sewer District number 1 capital funds, we're providing for the transfer to debt to close out the capital project in Sewer District number 1 of $515,000. If you look down to number 16, we're actually going to be paying down a ban of that $515,000 when we do the ban sale in October. In Sewer District number 3, we're providing for a transfer to debt from the capital fund, and you'll see the transfer in number 17 to pay down $139,000 of the ban in Sewer District number 3. Sewer District number 4, we're providing for a transfer to debt of $781. That's to close out that capital project. And Sewer District number 7, we're transferring $1,872 to the debt fund to close out that capital project. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
No.
Okay, Mary Ann, go on to number 2, consider request to approve IT upgrades for 2019.
Okay, we've met with Glenn Sullivan, and Pasquarella and I have met with him. We met in the fall and we discussed these projects. We kind of did the 18 and 19 together. So these are the considerations for 2019 IT upgrades. There's a total of 19 computers that are going to be replaced, 1 in the assessor's office, 1 in the town clerk's, 4 in the justice court, 3 in the controller's office, 1 in planning, 1 in recreation, 1 in the supervisor's office, 1 in tax receiver, and 6 in police. So it's a total, including 2 spare printers, of $21,877. These are all off of New York State contract. The pricing is off the New York State contract. Those contract numbers can be found on Glenn Sullivan's sheet, which is the second attachment. And then the total billed by Sullivan Data for all of the work to include the batteries, the UPS, and the Microsoft license is $12,872.
Mary Ann, you
Yes.
guys still have that running spreadsheet of where you can
Yes.
see, you know, like with the police, they had maybe 3 done 2 years ago, now they're getting 6 or something
Yeah,
like that?
yes.
He
Yep.
still has that?
Yep.
Now, I know Recreation was looking for, I think it was a laptop to go down towards the,
They did get
the
that.
beach.
They got
Did
that.
they get that this year?
Yes, they got that. I think it is on order. It was just a separate, it's not a laptop, I think it's a tablet.
A tablet
Yeah,
where they
I
can,
think it's a tablet. So
Okay.
yes, Nina was in touch with Glenn Sullivan. We actually did the PO probably a couple weeks ago.
okay.
So yes, that's on order. And then I think there were 2 other tablets that were ordered. This here is just computers, desktop replacements. The tablets, there were 2 ordered, Ann ordered 2 for, to work with the TVs as well. So 2 tablets. So,
Would they need a tablet
See the rec tablet here
For
for
the
Caitlin
region.
down there.
For recreation,
for the beach?
for the beach, so when people
Yes.
come in.
Checking in
they
for the
can just
kayak
check
if they've
in.
already
Mm-hmm.
registered,
They
checking
can
in for any
do
water
all the
activities that are
payments
being
and
done through there.
everything down there also.
It's not, is that going to have internet access?
I think,
Yes.
through the
Yes.
assessor in the building department, we have
yes.
that, right? It's through
Yep,
our
yep.
wireless
Yeah, we get
carrier.
charged from Verizon for that.
You don't want the lifeguards having that, though, right?
No, it's just Nina or whoever's coordinating through Parks and Rec for the activity that'll be there.
Yeah.
I think that should be it, right?
But it's not going to be down at the beachfront, though, correct?
No, I don't think it's like a
You know,
lifeguard
Maybe at the
tablet.
in
gate,
the
maybe at
entrance,
the
at the
gate.
gate, at the
At the
entrance
beach
gate.
gate.
I'd rather it not be in the lifeguard station.
No, it's not in the lifeguard station. You know, like when you
For
go out.
for
to-
obvious reasons.
Were you a
Yeah.
lifeguard in high school?
No, when you go
I
in.
didn't have a laptop, I didn't have a tablet.
But
No.
just make sure Jim knows it stays out at the.
It's got to stay at,
Has to stay out at the entrance gate.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it can't go into, okay,
Yeah.
all right. For obvious reasons, obviously. All right.
Yeah, so that's.
Mary Ann, just
that's
one
an addition.
question, if I could back up to the desktop computer replacements for the town clerk, I'm sorry, the court clerk.
Yes,
There's 4?
yes.
Didn't Pat apply for some JCAP funding for
They were
these?
not, she did,
Yeah.
but they were denied, denied the computer replacements.
Oh, they-
She has applied for them over the years, and she did get them years ago.
Yeah,
But she
but they were
She was
denied
not
this
able to
round?
get computers. I'm not sure why, but I did talk to her about that,
Yeah.
to see if that was an option first before the town having to pay for it.
Yeah.
But if you go into their office, their computers are like this big. They're
Yeah.
so outdated. And they have applied for grants, but they were not accepted, so.
All right.
um,
She attempted.
She did,
anyway.
yeah.
Good. All
She
right.
tried 2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
She did get replacements probably maybe 5 years ago, I don't
5 or
remember.
6 years ago.
Yeah, but she's,
And those are that's the machines that they're currently using in there, the ones from 5 or 6
yes,
years
the
ago?
ones, yes,
Okay.
yep.
So that
And I
explains
think
why
we
it was-
we swapped them out with old ones or something, but
Mhm.
the ones that are in there are
Okay.
they're very old, so
All right.
they do
All right.
need to be replaced,
All right.
so.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
any further questions? Are you finished with this, Mary Ann?
Yes,
I just have one more question. 2 spare printers,
yes.
where are they gonna go?
What?
The 2 spare,
We just,
Spare printers.
because printers go over the years, so we just hold them in storage, the printers, and then they're replaced throughout the year.
Okay.
If, I think, Kenny, wasn't your printer
It did.
recently replaced?
Yeah, it was
You know,
replaced
so,
years ago.
yeah.
Yep. And it gets a lot of use.
Right,
It does.
yeah.
no, I don't
Every
mind
day.
it, I just don't
Yeah.
want them to be in a closet someplace not being used.
Yeah.
Or they're in a closet someplace and all of a sudden they disappear. Or they're in a closet someplace and we keep on ordering 2
Yeah.
more printers and we put them in a different closet.
Yeah, no,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
No, good.
I-
That's it's valid. It's a valid
Yeah.
law too, for sure. Yeah.
I'll check,
We don't
I'll
want them
check.
sitting around collecting dust.
Yeah, no, no,
because
no,
then-
yeah.
Because, if they're not gonna be used in 2 years, they're gonna be outdated.
Yep,
So do you want to say we just at least take that part off? But you can always say, because the purchase of one when it's needed is well below our threshold, it could automatically be purchased because it's still within the budget.
I mean, I don't mind if you guys think.
I'll
that you
double
can
check
use
and
them,
see
ju-
where,
just
you know,
look into
yeah.
it. I just don't, like, is this the first time you ordered?
No, we
Spare
ordered
printers?
spares, and I can check, they were both replaced, they were both used. We did order spares last year, and I can't remember exactly what department I
All
think,
right, and we have to keep track of those too, because if a department keeps on going
It's on
to a
that
certain
spreadsheet.
type of a printer, then
Yeah.
that printer may not be large enough to
Yeah.
do the job. Do you
it's
know
on
what
the,
I'm saying?
it's on that spreadsheet that Glenn keeps
Yeah,
track
yeah.
of.
Have them just do an update and then give it to you and then just send it to me
Okay.
also.
Yep.
Yeah. But Mary Ann, just look into the spare
I will,
printers.
yep, no problem,
Thank you.
yep.
Good. Any further
Okay.
questions for Mary Ann on this item?
Okay, and
What else you have?
the last one is to consider request to authorize advertise for bids for the IT, the server and hardware. This is for PD1 and PD2, that's the servers that are in the server room. So we're going to be, I'm just requesting us authorization to advertise for those, that hardware and software.
Okay.
And in the fall, we did TH1 and TH4, I think it was. So,
Okey-doke. Any questions, comments for this item?
No.
For the servers in the IT room? No? Mike, John, good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
All right.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
Mike Carnaz is next door in the planning board, so he asked me to handle this one. It's really pretty simple. This is a return of a permit fee for duplicate gas hookups for Taish at 110 Cary Street in Mahopac. Please be advised that a building permit fee was charged to Mr. Taish for permit 180944 to install a generator, install gas, and certificate of compliance for $306. 2 weeks later, the owner applied for and was issued a permit 18-1004 to install a gas tube generator for $50. I request that the town board return the $50 fee because it's a duplicate gas connection fee. So, building inspector is requesting that the board approve returning $50 to the homeowner, Mr. Taish, at 110 Cary Street. We all go with this?
Yep.
Since he paid it twice? Okay. All right, number 5, Mike Simone, Highway Superintendent. This is a request to authorize purchase of 2 highway trucks and equipment off the New York State bid list.
Good
Michael?
evening. Yeah. As ongoing with, we've been discussing the capital plans since March. We now have I believe, the money in place, right, Mary Ann? And we have waited a estoppel period, so at this point, I would like to purchase the 2 international trucks from Arkell Motors, which I think you have the sheet there. And that is, there was a quoted price, but we have a firm price now of $261, $270 per truck. So, and as I said, the money is already authorized in there. Next thing I'd like to do also offer, which we discussed in our capital plan, was 2 Mohawk lifts. I have a not to exceed, but I also have a final quote number of $24,889.79 per, so we will not go over that $50,000 threshold, but this is a hard number. And then third is the F-150. I do not have a hard number on that. The reason being is that we missed the 19 deadline, and we're into the 2000s, and we cannot order until September, because that's the next time they make them. And so we're kind of, I know that number's safe. It's probably more than we need, but unfortunately, I'm not going to have a real firm number until I put the order in. But they're not accepting orders until September, so they've closed manufacture right now, so.
Okay. All right, any questions, comments for the highway superintendent regarding this item for the new equipment, which the town board authorized?
Yeah, and these are all off of a bid, you know, one United bid. They're all off of a bid off of a New York State bid list, so. Onondaga, Van Bortle has the Onondaga one for the F-150, and the Mohawk lift is state contract PC 67221. So,
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay,
Mike.
good. We're good with this, Mike. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so.
550, oh, I'm sorry.
Scaling down?
Number 6, so our engineer, Rich Franzetti, couldn't be with us tonight, and he has 4 items on the agenda, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm going to be handling number 6, and then Greg Fulchetti is going to be handling 7, 8, and 9. So let's start with 6. This is a memo from engineer Rich Franzetti. The engineering department, by the attached resolution of the board, was directed to advertise for bids and supply and installation of a commercial air conditioning unit for town hall. This air conditioning unit is right above us here on the meeting room roof. It's 44 years old. It's the original air conditioning unit. Comfort Master has been servicing this unit over the years, and we've just been putting a lot of work, parts, labor, and material into that unit just to keep it running. It's 44 years old. I don't see any reason why we should continue to spend, throw good money away for bad for a 44-year-old unit. It's very, it's subpar. It doesn't do a very good job. It's not very efficient. And you know this, how warm this meeting room gets and how cold it gets in the winter. It's because the heating units in here are not suitable to heat this entire room. So the air conditioning unit that we spec'd out is one that also pumps heat. So it's an air conditioning unit. It doubles as a heating unit as well. So we're going to be able to use that unit to help supplement these heating units that are the baseboard heating units that are substandard and do a horrible job heating this room in the winter. So one bid was received from HRR Industries Incorporated for $83,620. The town clerk's summary is attached. Bid specifications were provided to 5 potential bidders. And where I got the bid list from, I contacted Alex Mazzata, who's the purchasing agent for Putnam County. The Putnam County Jail last year had new air conditioning units replaced on the jail's roof. So I asked Alex for the list of vendors that they used to bid that project. So he sent me those list of bidders, and we sent our bid specs, our bid packet, out to those vendors as well. So 5 potential bidders were sent the bid packets. The public notice was sent out to 8 potential bidders. See the attached bidders list. The project was also placed on BidNet, is what the town uses. The current bid pricing is not supported by any other bids. The only comparative information that we have is a 3-year-old quote from Comfort Master attached for $46,800, which this department used as a basis for developing the technical specifications. The Comfort Master quote did not include any provisions for statutory public work requirements, labor and material bonds, performance bonds, payment of New York State prevailing wages. As such, we believe that if that quote was brought to the current date and the above statutory requirements were included, it would be significantly higher. Indeed, when budgeting for this item in collaboration with the Comptroller's Office, with the Comfort Master quote in hand, a line item budget and the amount for the unit was set at $100,000. This department conducted interviews for references, see attached, and received nothing but positive feedback about HRR. We have consulted with the Comptroller's Office, and based upon the line item, there is sufficient funds for this project. We therefore recommend that the contract be awarded to HRR Industries Incorporated for the total amount of $83,620. I respectfully request that this matter be placed on the next available work session for discussion. So, based on Rich's comments and his memo, I recommend that the town board approve the bid that we received from HRR Industries for $83,620. Would I have preferred receiving multiple bids on this? Yeah, I would.
That's what we should tell the public,
Yeah,
what we discussed before and now.
Yeah, we certainly desire having more than one bid. There's no question about that. But we've made an attempt. We sent it out to 8. There were 8 potential bidders, 5 potential bidders.
Plus BidNet.
Plus BidNet. Plus it went out on BidNet. either all of these HVAC companies are busy, and this wasn't a big enough job for them, perhaps that could be the case, that they didn't bid. They didn't submit bids back to us. So we did receive the one bid, and it's the end of May now, or May 22nd. We're going to begin to the hot weather soon. I'd like to have this air conditioning replaced sooner than later. So, I recommend that the town board approve the bid from HHR for the $83,620. As I stated, we budgeted $100,000 for this project in this year, in the 2019 budget, so there are sufficient funds that are available for this. Any board comments, questions?
No, just point out to the public, like even number 8, went out to 12 people to bid, one came back,
Right.
you know.
We're making
Very
attempts.
similar
It's
to
not
the TV. I mean, they harp on the number of 180-some-odd thousand for the TV, but the second number was 200 and something.
Something thousand, yeah.
And it went out to 7 people, some of the biggest people in Lower Westchester. So if you only get 1 bid or 2 bids, you can't twist their arms to come here.
Can't- I thought for sure B&H was gonna bid on it. That's a big company.
No.
They do most, if not all, of Westchester County's work.
You know, you hear comments about, we could do without that. That's the low bid.
Yeah.
I have no problem awarding the bid. I just have just an informational question. So when we send out, it says here, like, we sent out the bid specifications to 5 potential bidders, but we sent out the public notice to 8. Why doesn't everybody get the bid specifications? Would that maybe draw more people in? It's just for information.
But it's put on BidNet.
It's out there.
It's out there on BidNet, so it is.
The public
publicized.
notices just go on BidNet and place your bid.
I know, but I'm saying, but why did specifications go to 5? Like, what caused us to spend
Those are the
those
vendors who
5?
actually come pick up the specifications. The
Oh, they
specifications
come
are,
to the
They
building
come-
there,
they
pick
come
up
to
the
the town clerk.
pick up.
For the
specifications,
public notice, they came in and
and took
They
it up?
picked up the bid
Okay, all
packet.
right.
So-
I thought we sent out to 5, these
No.
5,
No,
the specifications, and then
8 were
just
contacted,
the-
5
the
came in.
eight
The
was
public notice was sent to 8, and 5 came in.
Oh, 5 of those 8
Yeah,
came to pick up
them up.
the actual specifications. Perfect,
Mhm.
understand.
Yep.
I mean, this isn't on, it's semi on this topic, but like, I'd love, to get an understanding, like either, like maybe comptroller to comptroller, or ask Ann Spofford, town clerk to town clerk. Are other municipalities, other towns having a similar situation of like, say like Southeast, like, when they put out the bid, is only one bidder coming back, is like Yorktown or
Yorktown,
Somers?
Somers.
I'd like to know that answer, too.
I'd love to,
Yeah.
like, canvass the municipalities around here. Again, if you know the controllers there to make a call, or we can ask Ann Spofford, town clerk to town clerk, because it's kind of, to me, it's odd.
it'll vary by the type of bid.
Comfort Master.
It'll vary by the type of bid, that is correct. But I mean,
Some
you
you're
know-
gonna get inundated, and some you're going to get that.
tennis courts, we had one.
Yes,
Air conditioning, one. AV,
one.
audio video, 2. Even, for the airport park, there was, I think, what was it, 4, I think?
Yeah.
So it just, I
And they're
don't know.
nice-sized jobs.
Fairly large-scale job.
Yeah, so Kenny, maybe you can ask them just to make some phone
Do a
calls to
canvass.
see, just canvass
Informal.
the other towns,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will, yeah. I can even ask Alex Mazzata up at the county, the purchasing agent, and find out from them what their response has been to these.
Yeah,
And you get there's 2 Mahopac businesses. that did-
And you
Route
got-
6,
and
Route
you
6
have-
companies.
And you got
Yeah.
the one that does the service for us.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
gave a bid 3 years ago.
Right.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense, I know. Part of it is they have to pay prevailing wages.
Some of them don't
Some
wanna get into
some of
it.
them don't want to get into the prevailing wage part of it.
Or
And
the-
submit certified payroll,
Or the bonds.
right, and bonds.
Private job, you're not
cost
bonding.
money. So, that's why,
Okay.
a lot of cases, you may not get the bids,
Yeah.
All right,
Sad.
so Greg, you want to take number 7?
Sure.
And, Greg, I'm sorry, there's one change, I think.
I was gonna
wrote
pick that up.
You got it?
From the agendas, yeah.
On the agenda. Yeah,
Okay.
the agenda should read refurbishing and rehabilitation,
That's
not
correct.
purchase and installation.
Some years ago, the town board commissioned a study and inspection of the water tanks across Carmel Water Districts, just for condition and proposed improvements or rehabilitation. That was recommissioned about 2 months ago for Carmel Sewer 2, 3, 8, 9, and 14. There's 9 total tanks. And we did receive a report from Pittsburgh Tank and Tower Group with a series of recommendations for rehabilitation and repairs to the various tanks. With that said, and in light of certain recent events regarding certain water districts where improvements are going to be contemplated, the board needs to put these out to bid for the actual physical work. All of the work on each tank would exceed the GML threshold of $35,000, almost certainly, and across the 9 tanks and the 5 districts, it most definitely will. So the engineering department is looking for authorization to create specifications and advertise for bids for the remediation and rehabilitation work for Everett Road, Lindy Road, Clapboard Ridge tanks in Water 2, Secor Road tank in Water 3, Crest Road and Kings Ridge in Water 8, Vista Terrace North in Water 9, and Hill Street, the 2 tanks on Hill Street in Water 14. And they'll need the board's authorization to actually prepare the specs and advertise it for bid. Based on what's been transpiring, I think the board wanted to get to doing that sooner rather than later. So you can certainly get the bids, and you'll see what comes in, like we were just speaking about. So, all right?
Yeah.
Now,
Everybody good?
Greg, were they gonna put in, I remember us talking about when we were up in the library in Carmel, about
the mixer.
the thing down at the bottom
Were
of
we in
the
library in
tank?
Carmel? I don't remember. Were we there?
Yes, we were.
That was in the Water 2 tank. The Everett Road tank, there was specific mention of the...
It's an agitator.
Right, of the
Like a
agitator, the mixer
Right.
in the tank that would presumably alleviate some of the problems they're having with the water leaving the tank. That may not be limited to that tank, okay? But you could certainly
But
speak to engineering about specifications and recommendations for the particular tanks to have that function in it.
Yeah, yeah. And then are they gonna go out as one bid for all 9 tanks, or is it gonna be per tank bid?
I think the scale would probably lead you to bid it as one job. In the economy of scale,
One
you
job
probably
for
would want to do.
9?
Yeah, and then you'd allocate in a portion, there's going to be borrowing, so you can allocate in a portion the borrowing across the respective districts for each job. The example I can give you is when you did the generators for the water districts some years ago. We did them for virtually all the districts, and we just did it as one job, and the respective cost for each district was allocated from the borrowing, because it's not going to be done. There has to be borrowing for this as well. And it'll just be allocated to debt service to the respective districts based on the cost for each set of rehabilitations. I see it as one job.
Get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was gonna be bid out for 9.
No,
Yeah, just make sure that they have the stuff at the bottom of them,
The mixer.
the mixers.
The mixer.
The Kenny, the agitator.
The
The
agitator.
agitator.
Yeah,
I don't
Kenny,
think
the
it was called
agitator.
agitator. The agitator.
Shoe
yeah.
fits.
The mixer agitator.
And the agitator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So we
so
will
that's what
see
they're
these
looking for.
before-
I'll have a
before they go
resolution
out.
We're gonna
prepared
see
for...
these before they go out, right, Greg?
You will,
We'll see
okay?
these before they go out.
And I'll make sure that engineering knows that that's what's expected in the tanks where that is possible. Okay, I'm not certain that all the tanks are designed that way, where you can have that.
And Everett-
particular- I know Everett Road is,
Everett Road.
and that's the one that was spoken about.
Right, so Greg, now let me ask something. If you put it out all for a bid, can the bid specifications also say, like, they must be done kind of in this order, at least maybe the first 2, because we know Everett Road's really, really bad? So can we say Everett Road must be done first? Like,
We can certainly put out a priority of work in terms of the order of completion, and that can be part of the scope of work.
okay,
And I would think that the Water 2 ones are probably the ones that you're going to consider doing at the front end of the job.
At least the Everett Road tank. That's a priority.
With the borrowing, you might want it all in, or maybe you want to spread it out, but Everett Road, I understand. All right, so I'll do, the next meeting, I think, is June 5th, right? So I'll do a resolution for the 5th
For the 5th.
for that.
Okay.
Can I go next?
All
or
right,
no?
go on, next.
Okay.
8.
This is the chemical supply across the various water and sewer districts. Obviously, for treatment purposes, we have to have our operators be supplied with chemicals, and if you look on the bid sheets, there are many, many types of chemicals that are used in the treatment of water and wastewater, sulfuric acid, caustic soda, chlorine being among them. And this is the job that we had Slack Chemical doing since 2014. and we extended them through the end of the end of last calendar year, I'm sorry. And so the board authorized it to be put back out to bid across the districts, and we got one bidder, and it is Slack Chemical, the current vendor. And what the engineering department did in preparing the memo is basically gave you the cost for the 2018 supplies across the district was about $72,000. And if you assume the same quantities, the 2019 cost would be about $91,500. The benefit to doing it this way is first, is you only have the one bidder, of course, but these 2017 and 18 prices are flat, and that particular cost, unit cost again, the projected cost would be flat for this year and for next year. So it averages out to about a 6.75% increase per year if you do the math. But you need to have the chemicals. Obviously, Slack is doing it now. It's the middle of May. The contract comes up in July. But you need to have it done so you have the suppliers so that the water and wastewater can be treated. So you need to consider awarding it, or if you want to reject it and rebid it, which, again, you only got the one bidder this time. I think 8 or 9, I'm sorry, 4 potential bidders, I apologize. The public notice went to 12, but only 4 potential bidders picked up specifications. So that's where it's at. If you're inclined to award the bid to Slack and keep them for another 2 years, then I would prepare a resolution awarding the bid for the June 5th meeting for your consideration on the vote.
Okay. Any questions? Comments? All right, Greg, you want to
Sure.
go on to number 9, Town Legal Counsel, Engineering Department, consider request to authorize change order contract C-246, Carmel Water District 2, no cost to the town.
All right, okay. We had, C-246 was a water line replacement job in Carmel Water District Number 2. And what's happened is the job time has been extended by a couple of months. I think this is the 3rd change order. It was extended previously due to the bad weather we had last May with the tornado. I think they had some extra time on that, but they're looking to be the substantial completion date moved from May, I apologize. Yes, from May 10th to June 1st. Am I correct on that? June 10th, I apologize. So, again, that's an extension on the time only for substantial completion. There's nothing that affects either the overall cost of the job or the unit cost, but it is a change order in the terms of the contract for the completion time and substantial completion. So the board would have to consider that and vote to approve a change order in order to do that. So if you're inclined to do so, I'll prepare a resolution for the June 5th date for your consideration.
Okay. Questions, comments? Everybody good with this, the item that council just went over?
Yeah, Greg, when people extend the time, and this may be for Mary Ann too, when they extend the time a month or so, do the payments get pushed back as well?
Well, what happens with a job like that is there's payment on substantial completion, there's retainage. Okay, if the substantial completion gets pushed back, the payment that they'd be entitled to on the requisition can't get paid until that time, or won't get paid until that time. And obviously the retainage date is a year. It obviously gets pushed back, so we keep 5%. 5% of the job cost is held in retainage for a period of a year. And obviously, if the job goes back later, then we hold the retainage for a longer one-year anniversary date from substantial completion before we release it. And the contractor gives us a release of liens, release of any sub-liens and the like. And that process is usually done within that year.
Okay.
Right?
Yep, perfect, thank you.
Okay. So that concludes the agenda items for this evening's town board meeting. Anybody would like to come up and comment on the agenda items that we covered this evening? Come on up. Anybody? All right, there being none, we're going to open up the floor to open forum, new business portion of the meeting.
Ready?
Nobody? Anybody? Nope.
Crickets.
Going once, going twice. Carmel Town Hall will be closed Monday, May 27th, this coming Monday, for an observance of Memorial Day. Offices will be reopened on Tuesday, May 28th at 8:30 a.m. But I want to remind the public that this Sunday, there is a Memorial Day services up in the Hamlet of Carmel at the VFW Hall at 11 a.m. So this Sunday, which is the 26th, of May, Hamlet of Carmel, VFW, 11 o'clock Memorial Day services will be taking place there. The following day, on Monday, May 27th, at 10:30 a.m., the parade, Memorial Day Parade, kicks off at 10:30 a.m. at Route 6N in Clark Place. They're going to march through town, and it's going to end at the War Memorial on East Lake Boulevard, and there'll be services there. There'll be the Memorial Day ceremonies be conducted there. So 2 days, Sunday up in Carmel, Memorial Day services at 11. Monday at East Lake Boulevard, opposite McDonald Marina at the War Memorial. There'll be services there at 11 o'clock, but before that, there'll be a parade through town, starting at Clark Place at 10:30. They asked everybody to line up there at that point. Please make every effort to come out for Memorial Day services and ceremonies to honor our troops and thank our troops for their services and for those that were lost defending this country during the times of war and conflict. There were many, sadly, but Memorial Day is when we remember them for their sacrifices and their services to this nation. So,
I just have
You
two
have anything?
things. Yeah, the farmer's market is a go. It is still
Oh, it
on.
is?
Yep. So that'll be starting in 2 weeks. They are still looking for vendors, so anybody interested can call Recreation 628-7888. They're held on Sundays. And then Kenny, I think I remember reading an email from Rich about the water hookups. The
meters.
remember
The meters.
the meters?
Yeah,
They-
250 have been installed thus far.
Right, but it was saying something, if people don't allow them into their house, that they're only gonna be notified 3 times. Greg, maybe you can talk about this?
The way that that's written is there'll be a series of notices, I think there are 3, but what's going to happen is they're going to install the meter subsurface, okay, at the curb, and the owner is going to be charged for the extra work. The town's going to have to pay for that. The meter install is one thing, okay, but if they have to install it subsurface, okay, because they can't get in the house, and I'm not sure what the number is, I thought it was 3 in terms of attempts to get in, then
Yeah.
ultimately they're going to do a
I just-
subsurface
Do the
installation.
homeowners know that?
The homeowners should know that, and that's why Rich
Yeah, I just
put all
hope
of
that
that.
that's truly, fully communicated,
Well, that's,
where that it.
They-
Correct. If you don't allow in, then they're gonna do it, outside the house, and it's gonna cost you money.
right, that's why he asked us to bring it up at this meeting, and I believe they were gonna ask it to put it in Mapac News. So if people are getting letters or notices from the water meter companies, please do not disregard it, because they will put the meter on the outside of your home someplace, and then they're going to, the town, it will charge you to put it back onto your house. So
No,
please do not disregard
It's
it.
going to be an extra in the contract.
gonna be an
and
extra in the
gonna be
contract,
allocated
yeah.
to that particular user.
Yeah, so maybe you can,
You know how much excavating is gonna have to go on for that to take place?
It's only a meter pit.
They gotta excavate this outside to connect the new meter?
It's a meter pit.
That
They're
could,
going to do it
in some cases.
at the curb, right?
Yeah.
That's good, yeah, right on, easement,
yeah, but
No,
we may
it's going
want
to be
to
in
put,
the right away.
in the right of way.
yeah, so Kenny, we may want to put that on the
Wow,
website.
yeah.
You may want to call Bob Dumas and Eric Gross to get it in the papers. I just think it's important because we're going to get slammed, either Mary Ann's office, somebody's going to get slammed because these people are going to come home one day and have this water meter someplace on their lawn by the curb.
Well, it's good.
Contacting the homeowner, National Meter Service?
Yeah, they have a,
Yes,
How are they contacting? By a phone?
Letter,
Letter, phone, yeah?
there's various ways from what I heard.
there was a protocol for order and notice and the like that the engineering department presented, probably a little over a year ago before you bid the job. So I think it's probably something that, using the website and other avenues, most people will probably do that. There's still going to be some people you just can't reach.
Pull up the email.
Well, me personally, I think we'd have better results if somebody from the town was contacting the property owners, the homeowners. I think they're seeing a company from New Jersey contacting them.
department should know who's not.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
They're the exceptions, the ones that don't
The
respond.
ones that don't respond,
We should reach out.
the town should make an attempt.
Well,
Agreed.
they should, I
I'm just brought it up because people are gonna come home.
Donna has a list of who's
Yeah.
been contacted, who is.
But the ones the ones that aren't communicating with National Metering Services, where they're just not taking the call or they're not responding to them, do we have that list of those folks? Donna does? Does anybody from engineering at that point try to contact the homeowner?
We'd have to have done.
Donna should reach out.
Because I think
You'd
we'd
have
have
to
better
ask.
results if it came from us. So let me find out. I'll follow up on it. I just think you know, you may be apt to get them to say, okay, I have no problem with that. The town, you just verified or validated that it is a town project. Some people just might be leery about it.
Sure.
They might be nervous about letting somebody in or agreeing to let somebody in coming from a out-of-state company. I'll talk to Donna tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, even if it's the engineering department that can make those calls. It's not a lot, you know, if you have to make
Just the
six,
ones that are not.
just the ones that are not
It
responding.
sounded like it was a lot.
It's a lot.
It sounded like it was a lot that was not doing it.
Okay, I'll follow up with them.
Yeah,
If I have to call them myself, I'll call them.
yeah, just wanted to let you know.
Oh,
And I don't have a lot of time.
Now I'm gonna reject it, so you make a house call.
So I make a house call?
You have to.
Oh, I personally come to your house and, Mr. Lupinacci, can we install your meter?
We have an executive session.
Yeah, I want to make one other announcement. I want to thank Fulmer Road Cub Scout Pack 71. This past Sunday, there were 15 Cub Scouts and their parents and the Cub Scout den leaders cleaning up Lake Cassidy Road and Mud Pond Road. They filled 8 or 10 bags of garbage, litter, roadside litter. So thank you, Cub Scout Pack 71 from Fulmer Road, for making the effort to help beautify the town of roadside litter. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I wish other Cub Scout packs and dens would do the same thing. That would be a big help. Thank you. Okay, we have executive session tonight for one item that we're going to be going in and discussing with the town board. It's a personnel item, I believe. So I need a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
And seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. Aye, good night, everyone. And we're not meeting next Wednesday. Next meeting is the 5th Wednesday of the month, so there'll be no town board meeting. We don't meet again until June 5th. That's a voting meeting. So next week, no meeting. Next time we'll be back here June 5th. Good night, everybody. Be well. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.